Opinions are a bit like assholes. Everybody has one. Because of the proliferation of the internet, and even in countries where the people are barely eating, everybody has the ability to voice their opinion, and they can do it in a way where everybody else will simply have to deal with it because it becomes very difficult to ever confront or ever challenge the opinion of someone who, whether or not they were misinformed, post their opinion on the internet. Not too long ago, I made a video called Bugatti Veyron Supersport versus Hennessy Venom GT, where I expressed my discontent with the people who choose to ignore the facts and continue posting drivel on the internet, claiming that the Hennessy Venom GT was faster than the Bugatti Veyron Supersport. Now, here's the problem. The simple fact is, World Records currently lists the Bugatti Veyron Supersport as the fastest, most powerful street-legal production car in the world. The car has a top speed of 431 kilometers per hour, which translates to 267.8 miles per hour. The Veyron Grand Sport Vitesse has a top speed of 408 kilometers per hour, and that translates to 254 miles per hour. Now, the simple fact of the matter is, the Veyron was built from the ground up to be a Veyron. It started its life as a Bugatti Veyron Supersport, and it continues to be a Bugatti Veyron Supersport. The Hennessy Venom GT started its life as a Lotus. They took a lot of stuff out of it, they put some stuff into it, and then they slapped a name badge on the back of it to call it the Hennessy Venom GT. Now, Hennessy himself, John Hennessy, is probably very upset that he couldn't snatch the fastest car in the world record away from the Bugatti Veyron Supersport. So he's going back to the drawing board, and he's planning on building a Hennessy Venom successor, which he's hoping will be considered the fastest car in the world. Unfortunately, by trying to build a car like that, what's going to end up happening is he's going to end up having to do the exact same things that had to be done for the Bugatti Veyron Supersport. He's going to have to add in radiators to get rid of heat, a body of carbon fiber, the highest end technology that you can currently get, which, by the way, is extremely expensive, and he's going to have tires that can actually handle those speeds. The reason why I like arguing about this, well, there's really no argument considering what I'm saying is fact and it's in the record book. But the reason why I like arguing about this is very simple, because most of you do not understand what the rules are to be a production car. In order to be a production car, you have to be able to meet legal requirements. So what does that mean? First of all, you have to meet safety requirements that are basically handed down by the government of wherever you live. On top of those safety requirements, you have to meet the requirements to actually be a street legal car. You see, there's a difference between street legal cars, drag strip cars, and cars that you take on the track, etc., etc. There's less rules when you go on the track. Like, for instance, you have to have roll cages, helmets, this, that, and other. But you can run things on a track that you absolutely cannot run by law on the street. So even though we've always known that there have been rocket cars that could easily do 600 and 700 miles per hour if they're in the salt flats of the desert or in Iceland on the ice, we've known that these things exist for a long, long time. The simple fact of the matter is, none of that stuff is street legal. So to be a street legal production car, you have to meet numerous safety requirements. There's a reason why the Bugatti Veyron weighs what it weighs. There's a reason why it's the size that it is. There's a reason why you can't simply snatch stuff out of it just to save weight. You have to meet safety requirements, period. In meeting those safety requirements, what you end up with is this all-wheel drive car, computerized heavily in order to control the torque vectoring to all the four wheels. And you end up with a massive engine, a W16, which is designed to meet and maintain the speed specifications handed down in each one of these cars issued. The Hennessy Venom GT used to be a Lotus, and its structure was not intended to be used in the way it's using. Somebody decided that they were going to take that Lotus, strip it, and put stuff into it to make it meet specific requirements, namely being faster than the Bugatti Veyron Supersport. But that alteration of that vehicle would never allow it in its present form to be a street legal car in some parts of the world. The Bugatti Veyron Supersport, for the most part, is legal wherever you go. It's made to meet those requirements. However, it's also a production car, which means that every single one produced meets the same requirements and specifications. The Hennessy Venom GT, we can't say that. So now what do you have? You have a bunch of other manufacturers trying to produce their own tuner cars and coming up with all types of stuff. Namely, the Koenigsegg Agera R. Now, that's just one of them. There's also the Nissan GTR Alfa Omega, and then there's something else, the Aero, and this, that, and other. They can keep on adding more and more and more stuff to the list, and it really doesn't change anything. All of those cars didn't start the way that they ended up here. Those cars had lesser engines, and somebody took one of those cars, they threw a bigger engine, or what they did was they put a V8 with turbochargers into it, and they're running that small V8 engine as hard as they possibly can. And anybody who's actually in car tuning knows that that engine is never going to survive as long as a W16 in the Veyron would survive. Also, if they're not using the same Michelin Pilot Sports or better tires that the Veyron uses, there's a big matter of safety, because we all know that at these speeds, the pressures in these tires cause these tires to explode. These Michelin Pilot Sport tires that are on the Veyron cost close to $50,000 to replace for the entire set, for a very good reason, because these things are made specifically to withstand the heat and the tolerances that are needed to be withstood, that are needed to be surpassed and maintained in order to make that Veyron Supersport what it is. So you are entitled to your own opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts. The simple fact of the matter is the Bugatti Veyron Supersport is the fastest, most powerful, street-legal production car in the world. Get it through your heads, and when you want to bring something to the track to beat the Veyron Supersport, you make sure that that production car is ready to run that track in both directions, and make sure that that car's average top speeds are higher than 268 miles per hour. Because if they're not, then you've got no leg to stand on.